Good morning. Start your day informed and ahead. Today is Tuesday, the 28th of July. I'm Angela Lagunzad-Castro.
And I'm Cesca Litton-Kalaw. We are bringing you the perfect mix of the headlines you need and the conversations that shape your day.
From the news desk to the digital space, we have got you covered. I'm Pauline Verzosa, and welcome to Morning Matters.
President Bongbong Marcos said multiple cases could soon be filed against former House Speaker Martin Romualdez over the flood control scandal. During his fifth State of the Nation address or SONA, Marcos said the move may be difficult but stressed that authorities must do what is right.
Dumating na tayo sa punto na ayon sa Ombudsman ay malapit na ang paghain ng patong-patong na kaso laban sa dating Speaker. Masakit man sa akin ito, ngunit kailangan nating gawin ang tama. Hindi ako pangulo ng aking pamilya. Hindi ako pangulo ng aking kaibigan. Ako ay pangulo ng Pilipinas.
Romualdez, for his part, said he respects the president's position. In a statement after the SONA, he stressed that he has never sought favors or special treatment and remains confident the legal process will clear his name. All right, so, and just like that, the fifth SONA of PBBM is already done.
Done and dusted.
Yes. Uy, I like that, diba? Pero yun nga sabi nga natin, he opened his speech with such strong words.
With a bang.
Yes, and he set the tone. So sabi nga natin, ito ba yung sinasabi ni Cesca Castro na earth-shaking? Na-earth-shake.
Na-shook ba yung earth?
Na-shook ba kayo?
Na-shake ba yung
Pero
earth
yun
mo?
nga, di ba? We were discussing this yesterday and we also mentioned here that there's a bigger possibility that he will mention his cousin's name because he is implicated, no, after all, in this flood control scandal. And lo and behold, di ba, unang-una sa kanyang speech nga ito. But of course, sabi nga natin, he has set the tone already by getting in the most anticipated issue of all, the flood control project. No? And he did say na gumugulong ang hustisya and the cases will be filed against his cousin, the former House Speaker Martin Romualdez. But at this point in time, for context, yung case is still at the preliminary investigation. PI parang, kumbaga, hindi pa ito yung cases, no? So, antayin pa natin kung kailan talaga magfa-file yung cases. And of course, dun sa naging speech niya yesterday, a lot of people are saying na bakit siya lang yung nabanggit? There are other people, big personalities that were implicated in this flood control mess. You have Senator Chis Escudero, Senator Joel Villanueva. There's no mention of congressmen that were implicated as well, contractors, and even his former secretaries diba, in his cabinet, Lucas Bersabin, Amina Pangandaman, etc. So, and of course, people are saying, nasaan si Saldico?
Yeah.
Diba? So, yung parang nagpahapyaw lang siya doon sa sinabi niya yesterday.
Well, it seems the president just addressed the elephant in the room,
Yes.
ano, because a lot of people really wanted him to touch on the updates on the flood control scandal investigations. Earth-shaking, I'm not so sure, ha? Kasi, yes, it's good that the president said these words. He opened his SONA by addressing the flood control scandal, but it's nothing new. We already know this, right? As you mentioned, the preliminary investigation stage na. Sinabi na yan ng ombudsman last week, right? They even filed a supplemental affidavit. Sinabi yan ni Assistant Ombudsman Mico Clavano, they're now just one step away from filing cases. So, it's nothing really new na...
Hindi kayo na-surprise.
Dumating na tayo sa punto na patong-patong kaso malapit na daw sa dating speaker. So, the question there is, yes, filing cases is one thing, but as we always say, securing a conviction is another.
Is
thing.
because who has been charged so far? So the biggest name is probably Senator Jinggoy Estrada, former Senator Bong Revilla. We have Sara Diskaya. There are DPWH officials. There's one congressman palang yata charged over alleged conflict of interest. But again, where is Zaldico? And he didn't mention his cousin by name. Pero alam naman nating lahat, dating speaker. Gets na natin. Gets na natin siya, di ba? But the way he started it, when I was watching it yesterday, it felt like, I know all of you are waiting for me to address the flood control scandal. here it is, let me move on to other things.
Yes, that's true. Parang, kumbaga, most of the things that he mentioned, he discussed in his SONA yesterday was what we wanted for him to say, diba? That's what we wanted to hear. But of course, yesterday, it resonated also to the Filipino people, yung sinabi niya na I am not the president for my family or for my friends, but for the
Kaibigan,
Filipino people. And it's giving, sabi ko, it's giving Erap Estrada. I don't know if you can remember that, bata pa si Pami. Nung
Wala na siyang mag-anak.
Well, oo, high school pa ako noon eh. And then, sikat na sikat yun, di ba? During his inaugural speech, sabi niya, walang kamag-anak, walang kaibigan, di ba? Yun yung naalala ko lang dun sa speech na yun. But then again, yun nga, sabi natin, he did say na bahala ng ombudsman to file cases and he trusts that the court will do its mandate, di ba? To deliver the justice. But then again, I was wondering nga because we know naman how slow the justice can be here in the Philippines. I was wondering if they can allot a special court for this para mabilis ang di ba, ang takbo ng justice for
Actually,
the
sinabi
flood
rin
control
ni
scandal.
Cesca Castro, no, at this pace, at this rate, mabilis na nga daw eh. If you look at our justice system, it takes years to build cases and to try them. So it hasn't been exactly a year talaga since the ombudsman started investigating this. Kasi ginawa lang nila yan around September, if I'm not mistaken, October last year. So mabilis na nga daw na ganito na yung nasa preliminary investigation stage na. So a little patience siguro, but at least there's an assurance from the president that these cases are being filed. I also got to speak to DPWH Secretary Vince Dizon yesterday, and he said, on the DPWH's side, they submitted strong evidence. So that we can count on that. But he believes the ombudsman has a stronger case and we just have to be patient and at least matutuloy na nga itong mga kasong to against the former speaker. All right, but in other news, the Senate minority was a near no-show at President Marcos's fifth State of the Nation address. Minority Leader Alan Peter Cayetano, along with Senators Amy Marcos, Pia Cayetano, and Lauren Legarda, skipped the event, citing declining public trust, unresolved corruption issues, and the filing of cases against administration critics. Only Minority Senator Camille Villar attended the SONA. Malacanang downplayed the boycott, saying the absences would not affect the president's message. So yesterday, I got to speak also to Senate President Sherwin Gatchalian, and I asked him na paano ba yan, Senator, may ilang mga colleagues niyo po who chose not to attend the SONA today. And he said he was really hoping that the full support of the Senate would be there for the President's SONA. But of course, he was saddened na there were senators who chose not to do that. But sabi naman niya, we cannot compel anyone to attend if they don't want to. But as he said in his speech yesterday morning, we are working for one government and they need to work together to overcome these challenges.
Well, yung nakikita natin na just you being not there is already a statement.
form of,
it's already a statement. And I wasn't surprised naman din na hindi na pumunta. Even last year, wala naman na si Senator Amy Marcos. And I understand, sinasabi rin ni Senator Robin Padilla na he's friends with the president and he didn't want him to get offended na everybody's gonna clap their hands or, stand up, di ba? Siya hindi. So sabi niya, he opted not to go na lang. But what I'm trying to, know what's happening doon sa kabila because there are several majority members as well who are not there, like Senator Bam Aquino, Senator Ping Lacson, and Tito Soto. I understand Senator Tito Soto wasn't feeling well that day, but the others, I don't know. I don't know what's their reason.
Well, we will hear from the minority bloc today because it's the Contra SONA. So we have Senate Minority Leader Alan Peter Cayetano who's going to take charge. And siya? But Nick, kasi nag-Facebook Live na naman siya last Friday. And then he was asking his followers what they want to be addressed in the Contra SONA. And sabi pa niya na parang SONA should be translated into sana, stewarding a national agenda. So let's see what the...
Sabi ni Mary Mon that will start around 3 p.m. today. So, natin yung Contra SONA.
Pero I was wondering, these are powerful men and women, lawmakers with their spouses and everything. I wonder what does simple mean to them? Because I'm talking about their clothes. Diba? Magaganda. And I understand, magaganda rin po yung mga, there are opportunity, diba, platform for our local artists, diba? Pero yun nga, sinabi kasi nila simple. I was really looking at simple, hoping for simple. Pero I didn't think, yung mga suot nila, ang gaganda, to be fair. Pero I don't think that's simple.
Well, I mean, compared to
Previous years.
it
They all look
was
the same.
very... Grabe naman yung they all look
Ano siya? Ako, I would say, toned down.
Yes,
yung
it was-
outfits.
it was toned down.
Ano siya,
Talaga?
neutral
It was-
siguro. It wasn't as extravagant.
It was less extravagant compared to previous years. And it wasn't, the red carpet was no longer about, who are you wearing? How much did this
That
cost?
one,
Or-
oo. Pero
Diba?
for me, well,
Hindi ba
let's agree to disagree. For me, bongga pa rin yun. Simple sa akin is business attire o
Because-
yung suot nung iba.
Siyempre, I feel like the State of the Nation address is still also an occasion where you
Yeah,
need to
I
look
get
a
it.
certain way. You
Yeah.
need to be presentable also. Because the men were wearing barongs. So what is the equivalent for the women? The Filipiniana with the,
Filipiniana,
with the
pero not
butterfly sleeve.
that
Pero
extravagant.
wag naman yung ball gown. Ball gown, hindi naman...
Pero don't get me wrong, they all look good. Diba?
Pero notably, wala na yung mga iconic best dressed. Mga, di ba? Usually there's also every year a survey of who was the best dressed, worst dressed. Wala. So I guess that's also a testament na mas toned down yung kanilang outfits this year.
All right, still on the SONA, because obviously that is the hot topic for the day. President Bongbong Marcos urged Congress to approve a measure expanding income tax exemptions to Filipinos earning up to 350,000 pesos a year. The president said the proposal seeks to ease the tax burden on more workers as households continue to grapple with rising prices and higher living costs.
Nananawagan ako sa Kongreso upang maipasa ang batas na magbibigay ng bahagyang ginhawa para sa ating bayaring buwis. Una, palawakin natin ang exemption sa income tax. Dagdagan natin ang mga manggagawang malilibre sa buwis sa kanilang kita. Isasama na natin ang mga kumikita ng hindi lalagpas sa 350,000 pesos kada taon.
Marcos also announced the development of the Pac Silica Industrial Hub. He said the U.S.-led initiative aims to build an integrated ecosystem for artificial intelligence-driven innovation, advanced manufacturing, and logistics.
Additionally, a product of the 23-member-strong US-led Pac Silica initiative, the Pac Silica Industrial Hub will create an ecosystem that will have AI at its core. It will bring quality jobs to our people, accelerate our industrial competitiveness, and revitalize our economy.
So the current exemption for annual earnings is below 250,000. What was interesting also, I mean, don't get me wrong, we pay a lot of taxes. So the exemptions, the decrease in taxes, pretty welcome. It's just a question of what will generate revenue for the government at this point. And we'll be talking to Mona Brea later. I'm sure he can answer those questions better than I can because I am terrible at math. So
I remember the last time we spoke to Mon, he was asking the government to raise the threshold to 1 million pesos. So medyo malayo pa yun, 350K, but I don't know if papasa na yun kay Mon. Kung good news na ba yun?
wait,
Oo nga,
so Pawi was actually, yun na nga, you mentioned you were at the Senate yesterday. Anything on your end that you want to recap or more memorable?
Well, before the SONA, we got to speak to a lot of lawmakers, senators, and they all agreed that the president should address the corruption. Even Congressman Toby Tiangco was saying that he believes Martin Romualdez, the former speaker, is the mastermind of the flood control scandal. He flat out answered, no, yes, he is. So let's see if cases will be filed. But aside from that, of course, you also have other senators focusing on other important aspects like education, healthcare. And I guess it's important to emphasize also, a lot of people applauded the president for ending his SONA by making a strong statement on national security, on our stand on the West Philippine Sea, right? He said we are not racists, we are, di ba?
We're not liars.
We will not yield.
Di tayo papasiil. That's the most, kumbaga sabi the bravest word that he
Statement.
said yesterday. Kumbaga parang he opened and closed his statement yesterday with a bang. But on the, yung palaman, medyo marami pa. Oo. Well, to be fair naman, the speech for me is actually well written. May mga konting pagtalon lang because he was talking about the transpo in the first part, and then he jumped into another topic, and then he went back to transportation again, etc.
Yung
But
oil
overall, it
crisis,
was, you know, that it was a heartfelt SONA. Kumbaga parang it's more of like populist statement. Kumbaga, kung ano yung gustong marinig ng tao, yun yung ginawa. To a point nga na, wow, because yung mga tao, for an ordinary people, would hear saying na, okay, there will be expansion of tax exemptions. Middle class are being seen, you are heard, etc. Finally, di ba? Pero of course, at the back of your hand, paano? There's going to be a revenue loss.
Yeah.
I talked to Cabinet Secretary Benhur Abalos, and I asked him, is there still enough time? Kasi 2 years na lang left in President Marcos's presidency. Sabi niya, yes, there's still enough time. We will implement these changes. Kasi usually, pag patapos na yung term, di ba, penultimate SONA, na yan parang parapap na yung administration, but they're optimistic that they can still do a lot of things under the Marcos administration. And I asked him, ano ba yung magiging legacy ni President Marcos? Sabi niya, his legacy is that he understood the plight of the people at gusto niya talagang umabot doon sa mga, lalo na yung mga mahihirap.
Okay. All right. So many things to
Yeah,
talk
I know.
about. Don't go away. Morning Matters will be back after a short break.
Welcome back. You are still watching Morning Matters here on One News. As President Bongbong Marcos laid out his administration's priorities in his fifth State of the Nation address, lawmakers and government officials offered mixed reactions, with some expressing support and others calling for stronger reforms. Here is that report.
Reactions continue to pour in following President Bongbong Marcos's fifth State of the Nation address. Senator Kiko Pangilinan welcomed the president's decision to prioritize agriculture and food security, saying it recognizes the challenges faced by farmers and fisherfolk. Pangilinan also called for the swift passage of measures to strengthen agricultural cooperatives and extension services, saying these reforms are key to achieving food security and improving the livelihood of food producers. Senator Erwin Tulfo also expressed support for the president's call to amend the APIRA law, particularly the removal of system loss charges passed on to consumers. He also backed the administration's continuing drive against anomalous flood control projects, as well as its stand on the West Philippine Sea. DPWH Secretary Vince Dizon, meanwhile, said that the president sent a clear message that no one is above the law, stressing that the flood control investigation will follow the evidence.
In-address na niya kagad yung issue sa flood control scheme. At tingin ko wala nang kaklaro pa sa sinabi ng ating Pangulo. Hindi siya Pangulo ng kanyang pamilya, hindi siya Pangulo ng kanyang pinsan, Pangulo siya ng lahat ng Pilipino. At klarong-klaro ang sinabi niya. Kung saan ang ebidensya, doon tayo patuloy.
Executive Secretary Rolf Recto described the SONA as substantive and straightforward, saying it clearly outlined the administration's accomplishments and its priorities for the remaining years of President Marcos's term. House Speaker Bojidi, for his part, pledged the chamber's support for the president's legislative agenda, including proposals to expand income tax exemptions, lower electricity costs, and grant tax amnesty. Lanao del Sur Representative Zia Adyong said the president's address resonated with ordinary Filipinos by focusing on their daily concerns.
Actually, he was actually talking to the people, Filipino people, kasi yung lahat ng mga programa ng gobyerno, gumagawa pa nga siya ng halimbawa. It's really a SONA that is also hitting the mark, speaking about the real, the issues that are normally talked on our table.
But some lawmakers believed the address could have gone further. Representative Toby Chanco said he was left wanting a stronger message on accountability in the flood control scandal.
They should have come out stronger, Tsaka talagang sinabi na kahit pinsan ko yan, dapat panagutan niya kung ano yung nararapat sa kanya. Number 2, yung lahat ng ahensya ng gobyerno, dapat tumulong na magbigay ng ebidensya. Di ba mas maliwanag yun? So doon medyo kulang.
Senator Risa Hontiveros, meanwhile, welcomed the president's proposal to remove system loss charges from electricity bills, but said broader reforms to the APIRA law are still needed. She also said the president's remark that he is not the president of his family should be matched by continued action against corruption.
Senate Minority Leader Alan Peter Cayetano is set to deliver his contra SONA today, offering the opposition's response to President Marcos's address. And now let's get the latest from mobile journalist Merimon Reyes. Merimon, what can we expect later today?
Pauline, the plenary session or the regular session opened yesterday. However, for today, it will open at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Pero tomorrow, it will open at 4 o'clock kasi may impeachment trial na. Yun lang yung isang inonote natin dito. Pero ang nililinaw din natin, later magkakaroon din itong by tradition, yung contra SONA na ino-observe ng Congress both at the House and at the Senate. Si Senate Minority Leader Senator Alan Peter Cayetano, nag-crowdsource siya nitong weekend sa mga issue na nais matalakay ng publiko o nais silang marinig na mapag-uusapan ni Cayetano. Pero nabanggit niya doon sa isang Facebook livestream niya, yung ilan sa mga nagiging concern nila nung hindi pa nagko-commence yung SONA ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos is yung sahod ng mga empleyado, taxes, yung bill shock daw sa mataas na singil sa kuryente, yung taas ng halaga o presyo ng mga even basic necessities, bilihin, and yung affordability daw ng mga tao. Dagdag na rin itong produktong petrolyo na hanggang sa ngayon mabigat pa rin daw sa bulsa ng mga ordinaryong motorista. So lahat ng mga yan, maririnig natin mamaya sa kontra SONA ni Senator Cayetano. Pauline.
All right, thank you very much for that report. That was mobile journalist Merimon Reyes. Now, the House of Representatives is set to prioritize 26 remaining lead act bills after Congress opened its second regular session. And now let's get the latest from mobile journalist Amy Atienza. Amy, ano-ano ba itong mga measures na ito?
Yes, Pauline, kahapon nga matapos itong ikalimang State of the Nation address ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos ay nasabi rin ng Kamara na handa sila at tuloy-tuloy ang kanilang paghahanda para nga sa mga panukalang batas na nais pang ipasa ng administrasyong ito. Kabilang na nga dyan yung sa disinformation and misinformation measures, maging yung online protection lalong-lalo na sa mga kabataan. At kahapon matapos nga yung pagtatalumpati ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos, ipinahayag na din ni House Speaker Bogie D na patuloy ang kanilang suporta at kanilang magiging aksyon pagdating doon sa tax reduction para nga din na mas maging magaano yung buhay ng mga empleyado at inaasahan natin Pauline, sa mga susunod na araw ay yan ang tututukan mismo ng Kamara para nga din sa mga measures pa na kinakailangan nilang gawin at para nga sa pagsisimula ng second regular session. Sa mga susunod na araw, inaasahan din natin, Pauline, na merong mga events kung saan magkakaroon ng public consultation din si House Speaker Bogie D para malaman din kung ano pa ba yung concerns at kung ano nga ba yung mga amendments na pwedeng magawa mismo ng lower chamber pagdating nga dito sa mga panukalang batas na nais nilang ipatupad for the second regular session.
Amy, kahapon binuksan ni President Marcos ang kanyang ikalimang SONA by saying na malapit na ang pagsampa ng patong-patong na kaso laban sa dating speaker na si Martin Romualdez. Pero kapansin-pansin nawala kahapon sa SONA ang dating Speaker of the House. May balita ba kung ano ang latest, kung nasaan si former Speaker Romualdez?
So far, Pauline, wala pa tayong information on the whereabouts of former House Speaker Martin Romualdez. Pero nung kahapon, nung nagkaroon din ng statement nga, ito nga si President Bongbong Marcos kung saan sinabi niya na masakit at hindi nga daw kasi siya Pangulo ng kanyang pamilya o mga kaibigan, kundi Pangulo siya ng Pilipinas. At sinabi niya rin no, na malapit na ngang sampahan din ng kaso itong si dating speaker. Nagkaroon din ng mismong pahayag si former House Speaker Martin Romualdez kung saan sinabi niya rin na masakit no na ganito nga yung nangyari, pero naniniwala siya no na wala siyang ginawang mali at patuloy siyang maninindigan doon sa tama. Pero kung updates kung nasaan nga ba si former Speaker Romualdez, alamin pa natin yan. Actually, kahit kahapon, anong session pa lang, hindi na din talaga natin nakita no, si former House Speaker Martin Romualdez. Pero aasahan naman natin no, na magkakaroon din siya ng statements with regards to this matter.
All right, thank you very much for that update. That was mobile journalist Amy Atienza reporting. Now, don't go away because Money Talks with Kathy Yang is up next to get you ahead of the markets. I'm Pauline Verzosa. Stay tuned to One News.
Good morning mga kapatid. You are still watching Morning Matters. From corruption and economic relief to energy security, technology, and the West Philippine Sea, President Marcos laid out his administration's next steps while issuing some of his strongest warnings yet. Here's a look at the key takeaways.
President Bongbong Marcos used his fifth State of the Nation address to tackle accountability, economic relief, energy security, public services, and national sovereignty. On accountability, Marcos said contractors, senior DPWH officials, and even lawmakers have already been charged and jailed over anomalous flood control projects. The president also revealed that the ombudsman is close to filing multiple cases against the former House Speaker.
Dumating na tayo sa punto na ayon sa ombudsman ay malapit na ang paghain ng patong-patong na kaso laban sa dating speaker. Masakit man sa akin ito, ngunit kailangan nating gawin ang tama. Hindi ako pangulo ng aking pamilya. Hindi ako pangulo ng aking kaibigan. Ako ay pangulo ng Pilipinas at ang tungkulin ko ay sa inyo, ang aking mga kapwa Pilipino.
On economic relief, Marcos announced more than 60 billion pesos in additional aid until the end of the year, benefiting more than 7.5 million families. He also pushed for tax relief measures, urged Congress to pass the proposed Sariling Kuryente Act, and called for system loss charges to be removed from consumers' electricity bills.
Panahon na para tanggalin na natin ang systems loss na pinapasa sa consumer. Pinapasa ito sa consumer at kinakarga sa bill na pinapatungan pa ng value-added tax. Hindi naman kasalanan ng consumer kung bakit nagkaroon ng systems loss. Kaya hindi naman tama na kailangan sila pa ang pagbabayarin dito. Therefore, we, the people, we demand for the immediate amendment of the EPIRA.
On energy security, Marcos unveiled what he called a national treasure, an untapped reserve of 222 billion cubic feet of natural gas in Malampaya. He said the government is also pursuing hydrogen power projects and studying a possible return to nuclear energy.
Titiyakin natin ito ay ligtas. Titiyakin din natin may papaliwanag na mabuti sa publiko ang magandang dulot sa atin ng enerhiyang nuklear.
On technology and jobs, Marcos said government AI readiness programs have already reached at least 1.8 million students, parents, teachers, and other Filipinos. He also confirmed the development of the PAC's Silica Industrial Hub, which he said will create high-quality jobs and boost the country's industrial competitiveness.
As a strategic component of the Luzon Economic Corridor, the hub will be an advanced manufacturing and logistics center in the global AI and technology value chain.
And on national sovereignty, the president delivered a firm message on the West Philippine Sea. Marcos vowed to defend the country's rights and uphold the 2016 Arbitral Award through every peaceful and legal means available.
Let me remind our friends and our detractors, Filipinos are a noble, kind, gracious, and great race. We are not greedy, we are not racists, we are not liars. We are respectful and we are dignified. We are Filipinos and we do not yield.
And now joining us for his assessment is political pundit, the Dalai Llamas. Ronald Llamas joining us again on Morning Matters. Good morning. Thank you for joining us here.
The one and the only, the legendary. On the right
The
corner.
man, the myth, the legend. Okay. But sige na nga. Sige, let's start. For you, main highlights of yesterday's SONA.
Well, yung first 5 minutes niya, yung defining. Kumbaga, 2 years ago, yung defining niya yung Pogo ban. Diba? Tayuan yung mga tao, pati yung mga congressman na involved sa Pogos nagpalakpakan. No? Tapos yung nakaraan, last year, yung mahiya naman kayo, anti-corruption. Ngayon, ang kanyang defining ay yung first 5 minutes. Yung parang yung erap moment,
diba?
Walang kaibigan, walang
kamag-anak.
Dito ay hindi ako presidente ng aking pamilya, hindi ako presidente ng aking kaibigan. Presidente ako ng aking bansa, ng Pilipinas, no? Kaya kinasuhan ko ang aking binsan na si Speaker Martin Romualdez na matagal lang hinihintay ng mga tao. Pero ang problema lang diyan ay may sapat bang ebidensya. Katulad din na nasabi ko rito dahil yung ibang mga nakulong, nakita natin yung ebidensya.
Agad.
Smoking gun, di ba? Daan-daang milyon, dinala sa bahay, daang-daang milyon, binigay sa kaibigan, no? Ito, missing pa rin si Gutesa. Tapos yung 18 Marines, parang nasira yung kanilang testimony dahil sa dagdag bawas. Mga maleta. So, ayun. Pero defining yun. No? Defining yun. Yun yung kanyang tawag dyan, mahiya naman kayo moment for this SONA. Ikalawa ay yung expansion ng mga tawag ko dyan ay ayuda economics. Tax relief, no, subsidies, tupad, AIX, etc. So may expansion dyan. Ang pan dyan, amelioration. Kumbaga yung temporary relief para sa mga tao na medyo economically insecure dahil nga sa crisis. No? Ang problema naman dyan ay sustainable ba yan? Dahil very tight yung fiscal space ng gobyerno, no, yung kanyang revenues hindi ganun kalaki. So hanggang kailan niya masusustain? Lalo na nagpapatuloy pa rin yung Iran war. At yung impact sa atin ng high gasoline cost. Tumaas last week ng 10 piso, tataas na naman ngayon, next week tataas na naman. So masusustain ba yan? Kaya ang sinasabi ng iba ay marami, no, o malawak dito sa mga subsidies, no? Pero parang kulang sa structural reforms. Ang ibig sabihin ng structural reforms, yung medyo mas matagalan, political and economic. No? Halimbawa, nagtaka ako, hindi na nabanggit yung tayo ay upper middle income country na. Hindi na nabanggit. Siguro dahil pag binanggit niya, sabihin ng mga tao, hindi naman namin naramdaman no?
Tricky nga eh.
O, baka kayo lang ang nakaramdam no?
Baka ikaw.
Kami hindi namin naramdaman no?
Pero Sec Ronald, yun nga no, he talked about expansion of tax relief. Pero at some point, is he actually credible about tax? Diba? Talking about tax. Because we all know the family has yet to pay 203 billion tax liability. Your thoughts on that?
Yes, wala siyang mention doon. No? Baka siya yung pinakamalaki na kailangang bayaran na taxes. No? At katulad ng sinabi ko sa kanya, medyo populist. No? Binawasan mo yung tax, VAT, at saka yung systems loss sa kuryente. mga 1/4 yan ng cost ng kuryente. So medyo yung mga negosyo at saka yung mga consumers, medyo masaya dyan. No? Pero wala ka namang tax reform talaga. No? Paano, ang ating tax system kasi is very regressive. Ibig sabihin, kung yung mas maraming bahagi ng populasyon, sila yung mas malaki yung binabayad na buwis. Dahil lahat ng binibili natin may buwis. Paano yung mga mayayaman na patuloy na yung mayaman dito sa crisis? May windfall sila, halimbawa dito sa oil price increase. No? Yung mga big players. May windfall sila pag tumaas ang bat. Pero yung karamihan ng populasyon ay sila yung bumubuhat. So ang sinasabi kong structural reforms, pabubuhatin ba natin yung mga mayayaman na dito sa crisis na ito? Yun yung kulang. No? Halimbawa, yung wealth tax. No? Walang mention dyan. No? Yung anti-dynasty na structural reform sa political system, parang tahimik siya. No? Ano lang status ng anti-dynasty na yun? No? Yung mga ganun ba, doon yung kulang. Pero, yes, maganda yung kanyang mga ginawa para dito sa mga subsidies. Dito sa, inuulit ko, amelioration. No? So, yung insecurity ng mga tao in the immediate ay nabawasan. Pero in the long term, yun ang problema. Dahil tayo ngayon ang pinakamataas ang inflation dito sa region. Tayo ang pinakamataas ang unemployment. Tayo pinakamababa ang growth rate dito. Paano yan? No? Paano yan sa medium term at saka sa long term? No? Pero, siyempre, masaya mga tao. Kaya nadagdagan yung kanilang ayuda economics. No?
Pero Sec Ronald, maraming tinalakay kahapon si President Marcos from transportation, education, even tax silica foreign investments. Pero doon muna tayo sa overall perspective. What grade would you give the President's 5th SONA?
Hindi ako magbigay ng grade. Paano? Iba-iba kasi. Halimbawa, dun sa renewables, maganda yun, di ba? Pero at the same time, binanggit niya ang nuclear power. So ano yun? Ano yung ibig sabihin sa nuclear power? Dahil controversial yan eh.
Yes.
No? Controversial yan. Binanggit niya yung Pax Silica, di ba? As the growth corridor. Pero wala pa namang nakukuhang laman yung gobyerno sa substance ng Pax Silica. Siguro nakuha pa lang nila brochure. No? Yung brochure. Pero yung laman, wala pa eh. So hindi mo pa sigurado yan. No? Medyo two-edged yung Pax Silica. Makikita mo na yan ay tulong ng Amerika, etc. kay BBM. Pangkontra yan doon sa influence ng mga Duterte na suportado ng China. No, ibig sabihin, they are here to stay against Chinese interests. Pero, tinitignan din nila ano ba mangyayari sa impeachment. No? Dahil kung papasok sila, tapos eventually ang magiging gobyerno ay iba. No? Baka maapektuhan yung Pax Silica na very strategic, very long-term. Billions of dollars yan eh. No? So yun yung medyo hindi pa napag-uusapan. Dahil wala pang substance eh. No? So sa ngayon, brochure pa lang yung nakita natin. No? Yan ba ay mangyayari? Sana. No? Sana according to our terms. May bill ngayon sa Congress na kailangan yung Pax Silica ay ang term of reference national interest. Baka kasi interest lang yan ng investors. So yun yung babalansihin natin. Yes, gusto natin mag-invest sila in a big way, pero dapat meron technology transfer. Dapat yung laws natin na mag-govern doon sa 1,600 hectares na papasukan ng Pax Silica, di ba? Dapat may benepisyo naman yung ating workers. Baka puro imported workers yung ilalagay dyan. Mga ganun ba na hindi pa napag-uusapan dito. Pero may mga magagandang elements na pwede nang dalhin sa bangko ng presidente. He can bring it to the bank.
Or should we keep an open mind when it comes to Pax Silica? Kasi ngayon maraming criticism
Of course, no? Ang problema lang, hindi pa natin alam yung laman eh. No? Ano, malaking bahagi niyan, mining. Eh, syempre, controversial din ang mining. Dahil kaya sila pupunta rito, yung reserves natin sa cobalt, sa magnesium,
nickel,
sa gold, sa nickel. Pero, paano yung kanyan? Paano yung mga policy sa mining? No? Yun yung mga elephants in the room na kailangan pang pag-usapan. Pero dahil with our economy as it is like right now, baka kailangan natin yan. No?
Ayun na nga
Doldrums yung ating economy. Yeah. So kailangan ma-pump prime para tumaas. Ang problema, less than 2 years ang yung presidente. Yeah. No? So maraming kailangan mangyari in 2 years. political as well as economic. Halimbawa, itong pinakamahalagang defining moment na, yung anti-corruption. Nasa na yung 14 and a half contractors na pinangalanan niya na involved dito? Nasa na yung 67 contractors, no? Congressman na involved dito? No? Nasa na yung mga government employees sa executive, yung undersecretary ng DepEd na binigyan daw ng 8 billion ni Yusek Bernardo, no? Si Traigib, si Yusek o Asek Adrian Bersamin, na billions din yung binigay. Bakit yun? Wala pang mga kaso. So, eventually, sisingilin ka eh. Pero sinabi niya kasi, bahala na si Boying. Bahala na yung ombudsman, di ba? So, yun yung cup half full, cup half empty. Halimbawa, dyan sa usapin ng corruption.
Well, when it comes to the economy, last year kasi sa SONA niya, he was saying na maganda ang ekonomiya. And at that time, inflation was at around 1.4% lang. This year, there was no...
Yes.
Parang yung wording was just para mabuhay o mabuhat ang ekonomiya. How do with inflation peaking, I think at 6.4, I'm not sure, but tumaas. How should he have addressed this? Kasi medyo kulang yata yung pag...
Well, very limited yung pwede niyang gawin eh. Kaya nga puro amelioration lang eh. Diba? Protection sa OFW, middle class, tapos yung poorest of the poor. No? Ganun yung ginawa niya. Kaya doon mataas ang scorecard niya. Ang tanong nga natin, sustainable ba yan? No? Halimbawa, yung value ng halaga ng peso, all-time low. No? Almost 62 na. No? Siyempre, tatama yan sa inflation. No? Next month, ha-harvest tayo ng mga tinanim several months ago. Food inflation yan dahil nadoble ang presyo ng fertilizer nung nagtanim sila. Nadoble yung presyo ng gasolina. So yung harvest time next month, mataas yung bentahan niya. So makakadagdag yan sa inflation, yung food inflation na yan. Dahil lahat tayo kumakain eh. Diba? Siguro kayo mas konti ang kinakain, no? Kami kasi mas marami. No? So, yan yung mga susukatin eh. Yan yung susukatin. Kaya, ganun yung ayuda economics na sinasabi ko kanina. Amelioration. No? Pansamantalang relief. No? Pero, lampas sa pansamantala, ano na ang gagawin natin? No?
Sabi niya yesterday sa speech niya, kayang-kaya natin harapin at sabihin sa mamamayang Pilipino na ginawa natin ang lahat para maibsan, 'di ba, yung kahirapan or matugunan yung mga pangangailangan despite the Middle East crisis. There was ayuda, 'di ba, yung mga et cetera, no?
Tax relief, PhilHealth expansion.
Exactly.
No?
So, do you believe that ginawa nga ng administrasyon na ito ang kanilang makakaya?
Well, yes, dito sa amelioration na ito. Pero yung inuulit ko, yung mga mismong priority bills niya ay in limbo pa. Yun yung mga structural, di ba? At yung ano ba yung solusyon dito sa mga, yung ugat, yung root na solusyon, hindi na pag-usapan eh. Dahil nga, puro amelioration lang. No, yun yung, alam ba, hindi na pag-usapan ng utang na almost 18 trillion na. No? Sino magbabayad dyan? No? Siyempre, yung mga anak nyo, yung mga apo nyo, no? Yun yung hindi na pag-uusapan dito. Pero expansion ng benefit ng SSS, ng GSIS, ng PhilHealth, na pag-usapan yan. Diba? Kaya nga, sinasabi ko, populist eh. Yung kailangan ng tao ngayon. Pero siyempre, pag pinag-uusapan yan, yung bukas paano? Yung bukas paano? Yun yung medyo weak.
But follow up ko lang, Pawi, dun sa isa pang question ko sa Sec Ronald, yung sa pinaka-last part of his speech about the West Philippine Sea issue. Bumilib ka ba dun? Di tayo papasilip?
Yeah, very compelling yon. So, nagsimula ka dito sa defining anti-corruption moment mo. Nagtapos ka dun sa West Philippine Sea na tayo ay hindi racist, tayo ay honorable, respectful, tayo ay noble, no? Yung iba sa atin, noble savage, pero noble tayo, no? Noble. At Balat yan dun sa latest na balat sa atin na tayo mga unggoy. No? Yun yung not lost in translation dito. Kaya magandang conclusion yon. Hindi ko nga alam kung ano yung ibig niyang sabihin last week na magkakaroon ng reset sa relasyon natin sa China. Yung ba ay soft diplomacy dahil tayong head ng ASEAN at this point? Pero naging hard siya dun sa kanyang SONA. No? Kaya yun ba yung ibig sabihin ng reset? No? Minsan kasi may mga binabanggit na slogan yung presidente, hindi mo alam kung anong ibig sabihin. No? Pero that wasn't lost. A very sharp, a very strong conclusion in relation dito sa invasion ng China sa West Philippine Sea.
Pero for you, Sec Ronald, what else could be commended in the President's speech yesterday? Baka sabihin nila puro lang tayo criticism dito,
Negative,
puro
Hindi naman.
negative.
Kaya nga sinasabi ko, cup half full, half empty. No? Yun yung kinakuha natin ngayon. No? May mga positibo naman.
Yes,
At
of
marami yan. No? Halimbawa, itong sa systems loss, itong usapin sa BAT, no? Ay very medium term din yan. Baka yun ang pinaka-medium term. Dahil hindi naman ganun kalaki yung karami, mag-i-invest sa atin, especially Pac Silica, kung magpapatuloy na sobrang taas ng ating electricity cost. So, in a way, ameliorative yan, pero may kaunting medium-term vision. Dahil ina-emphasize niya na game changer itong Pac Silica. Hindi papasok ang Pac Silica kung ganyang kataas ang presyo ng kuryente. No? So, may ganun din siyang kaunting vision. Kahit medyo kulang yung ganung klaseng visionary aspect ng ating economy at sa ating political system. Medyo hindi rin niya napag-usapan yung ating mga humihinang mga institutions. Halimbawa, judiciary. No? Ano bang reforms ang kailangan mo sa justice system natin? Ano bang reforms yung kailangan mo sa ating legislative system? Dahil almost wasak yung image ng Senate at saka Congress. So, paano mo ayusin yan? Hindi mo napag-usapan ng anti-dynasty. So, ganun ba? Binabalansin natin yung cup half full at cup half empty.
Pero speaking of the Senate, Sir Ronald, 13 senators did not attend the President's SONA yesterday. Karamihan dyan, minority. And later today, magkakaroon ng kontra SONA led by Senator Alan Peter Cayetano. What are your expectations? At ano yung basa nyo dun sa hindi pag-attend na rin ng mga senador kahapon?
Well, medyo expected naman yun. Kaya nga nakasuot sila ng itim, di ba? Hindi ko lang ma-appreciate yung suot ni Amy Marcos. No? Kayo na bahala doon sa fashion sense niyo. Parang nung una ko nakita, parang Conjuring.
Well, fashion police ka na rin pala.
Pero yung mga ibang senador naman sa majority, siguro gusto nilang i-emphasize yung nakadistansya sila sa executive sa usapin ng impeachment. No? Ayaw nilang magmukhang parang hawak sila ng executive dito sa impeachment process na ito. Kaya medyo hindi dumalo, halimbawa si former Senate President Soto, si Ping Lacson, no? Hindi yung criticism sa SONA, no? Talagang gusto lang na siguro nilang i-maintain yung distance dahil nga nasa gitna ng impeachment. Nasa gitna ng impeachment. Iba naman yung nakasuot ng itim. No, iba naman yung kanilang
Iba yung
agenda.
statement nila
Well, Palace Press Secretary Claire Castro said na the President himself wrote his speech, pinractice nga daw niya. And as we saw yesterday, he started and ended with a bang. He started with a flood control issue, didn't mention his cousin by name, pero sinabing dating speaker, alam na natin kung ano yun. Flood control, talked about it, let's move on to other matters. And then ended with, touching on our patriotism because of what's happening in the West Philippine Sea. But in between all that, there were moments na nagka-standing ovation, there were moments of pumalakpak. But what were the more salient points in between that you feel maybe should have been talked about more? Or what was not talked about that should have been talked about?
Well, halimbawa, yung mga peace process sa mga insurgents, medyo tahimik siya ron. No? Hindi natin alam ano ba nangyari doon. No? Ikalawa ay yung yun nga, yung pinag-usapan natin kanina, na major, yung Pax Silica, it's more a brochure. No? Kung yan ay game changer, ano yung substance? Ano yung substance? Anyaan. Lalo na yung ating growth corridor, yung BPO, liit na yan eh. Dahil pinapalitan na yan ng AI. So, ang sinasabi mo, itong natitira nating growth corridor ay papalitan ng Pax Silica. So, major yan. Again. No? Pero, wala pang substance. No? Yun yung tingin kong kulang doon sa, sabi mo nga, yung sa gitna. Yung sa gitna rito. Inaasahan ko sana magsasabi siya ng tawag dito, yung revamp na laging pinag-uusapan. Dahil yun yung reset eh. No? Ang kailangan mo ng reset sa governance. Maraming problema, political at economic, last 2 years ka na lang. Ito yung pinaka-importante mong SONA. May bala ka bang reset sa iyong pamamahala? Yun yung ibig sabihin ng revamp. Ang ginagawa kasi niya by increments eh. Tatanggalin yung dalawa, tatanggalin yung isa, papalitan ito, no? Ganyan. Mas maganda siguro kung pinagsama-sama mo na, ito yung revamp, ito yung gusto kong pagbabago. Kung ako yung nandun kung ako yung presidente na, hindi naman ako mapupunta ron. No?
Never say never.
Okay, you said ayaw mong bigyan ng grado yung naging SONA ni PBBM. Pero ganito na lang. Among his previous SONAs, 2022, 2024, and today, would you say that this is the best SONA that he delivered? He spoke mostly in Filipino. He wrote it. May mga powerful thought, kumbaga.
Well, yes, medyo mataas siya dun sa mga immediate relief. No, pwede mo siyang bigyan ng 8 diyan. No? Pinipilit niyo akong bigyan ng grado.
Hindi sabi ko nga best ba or not?
Diyan, di ba? Sa structural reforms, baka 5. No? Dahil nga, indications lang yung sinasabi niya. No? Nang pwedeng gawin long term. Political, medyo pagkatapos ng sabihin na ipapakulong niya yung kanyang pinsan, medyo tahimik na. So, parang parang minimum compliance. Pinasa na niya kay Boying. Kawawa naman si Boying. Nabahala na yung ombudsman dyan. So, siguro may mga kwan ka naman dyan, 6 or 7. No? 6 or 7. Still to be seen kung anong gagawin niya dito sa anti-corruption. Pero in terms of drama, siyempre, mas dramatic yung Pogo ban. Diba? Tayuan yung mga tao. Yung mahiya naman kayo, dramatic. Dito, dramatic yung first 5 minutes, pero not as dramatic as yung 2 previous SONA. No? Kumaga sa amin yung no to wang-wang. No? Yun yung or kay GMA yung bangkang papel. No? O yung ginawa niya kasi yung parang kay Erap. Walang kaibigan, walang kamag-anak. So in terms of drama, mas dramatic yung previous SONA, no? At saka yung before that. Pero again, inuulit ko, ito yung pinaka-importanting SONA niya. Dahil kung hindi na ma-deliver yung mga sinabi niya rito, magiging quickly lame duck siya. So in the next few months, makikita natin, meron bang mga kasuhan makukulong si Boying Remulla? Bubuhos ba itong ayuda, economics? No? Ikatlo, meron na bang indications na yung ating structural problems ay magkakaroon ng structural reforms? Halimbawa, ano lang laman nitong Pax Silica? No? Yung 20 pesos ba na bigas ay malapit na nating ma-achieve doon sa sinasabi niyang mga reform ng agrikultura. Dahil ngayon, nung huli akong bumili kasi, 60 pa rin eh. No? Hindi ko alam sa inyo. Hindi yata kayo namamalengke, no? So, yun ba, di ba? Paano ang defining kasi niya nung nanalo siya, 20 peso a kilo of
meron
rice.
Meron naman BBM, di ba? 20 bigas meron na. Kadiwa, mahal.
I'm almost sure tataas ang presyo ng pagkain next month. Dito sa harvest time. No?
Well, the fuel prices are already jacking up as we speak. So
yes. Tapos yung piso ay sana abot. No?
Baka mag-63 nga daw di ba? Babag pa doon.
So, yun yung mga remaining problems natin na malalaki pa rin eh. Malalaki pa rin.
Okay, so Sec Ronald, 2 years left in the Marcos presidency. legacy mode na ba dapat ang Marcos administration? If so, ano po ba yung nakikita niyong legasiya ni PBBM? Or will it be about political survival already for him?
Baka all of the above. No? Legacy na ito eh. Ito na yung last 2 minutes eh. No? Pero may existential battle siya eh. Dito sa mga Duterte. Survival battle ito. At ito yung nakita kong first time na yung mga superpowers ay directly involved. Geopolitics will play sa domestic politics. No? Ngayon ko lang nakita ito na talagang ganun ka-active ang Amerika at saka China dito sa labanan, sa loob ng ating politika. Alam natin na may influence naman sila before Pero ito talagang very overt Lantaran Tayo yung battleground. Tayo yung battleground ngayon Yung Pax Silica is part of that battle. No? Impeachment could be part of that battle. So existential yung labanan Kaya very defining No? Sino ba magso-survive? Sabi mo nga, survival fight ito. As well as a legacy fight. No? Kaya yung kanyang speech ay binabalanse yung dalawa. Pero wala siyang mention ng impeachment. Dito, di ba? Dahil
dapat tama. Dapat pa, Sir Ronald.
Well, tama lang yun. Dahil pinapalabas kasi na wala siyang pakialam dyan. Pero yung mga nakatira sa labas ng kuweba, diba? Diba? Wala naman kayo sa kuweba. Alam nyo na merong interaction yan. No? Kaya parang narinig mo lang yung mga thought bubbles Diba? Yung mga hindi sinasabi. Minsan kasi sa ganyan, papakinggan mo yung hindi sinasabi.
Right.
No?
Well, realistically speaking, in the last 2 years, with everything that he said, with everything that we see in the thought bubbles, what can he still finish?
Ako defining itong next few months. Defining ito. Politically, ano mangyayari sa impeachment? Ano mangyayari sa anti-corruption? No? Ano mangyayari sa Iran war? No? Dahil ang laki ng impact sa atin yan. No? So, itong next 2 months, next few months will define the next 2 years. No? Kung ano yung mangyayari in the next 2 to 3 months, yan yung mag-shape ng 2028. At yung 2028 will shape the next decade or so. Yun yung nakikita natin ngayon. No? Kaya, hindi ko alam kung nandito pa kayo sa next decade no? Para pag-usapan ito. No?
Sana naman.
I hope so.
Yeah, I mean, sa Morning Matters.
Okay.
Baka mamaya, pinag-uusapan pa rin natin itong mga problemang ito a decade from now, di ba? Pero baka by that time, ay retired na ako. No? Or katulad ko si Gretchen, naglilibot na ako around the world. No?
Well, this is the 40th SONA, di ba, ng bansa natin. And we're still talking about the same problem. Sabi nga natin. Pero I wanna ask you, Sec. Ronald, yesterday he said, gumugulong ang hustisya. No, as I would always talk about here in our show, filing cases is one thing, getting conviction is another thing. And we all know how slow the justice can be here in the Philippines. And I was wondering, would it be more, kumbaga, credible for the administration for ask for a special courts para dinggin lamang yung mga flood control?
Actually, sinabi na yan ni Boying last year. No, na may usapan sila sa Sandigan Bayan para mapabilis yung proseso. Tapos sabi rin ni Boying, mag-hire siya ng 300 new lawyers sa ombudsman. No? Kaya, meron namang ganong effort.
Pero sa ombudsman yan. Pero pag nasa korte na yan, yun yung sinasabi ko, special cases. Parang sa Maguindanao Massacre.
Yes.
But you have special cases.
Yun yung sinabi niya sa last year about Sandigan Bayan.
Yes,
Paano lahat siya
meron
naabot sa Sandigan Bayan. Hindi ko lang alam ngayon ano na status nun. Yung pinopose niya. No? Pwedeng tanungin natin siya o tanungin nyo, i-guess nyo rito. I'm sure dadalo yun. No? Ano na ba yung pagpapabilis ng ating justice system? Yun yung sinasabi ko na kulang na structural reform. No? Na yan yung mga key elements ng structures natin na medyo kapos yung SONA speech. Malaki, malawak, dun sa relief, amelioration, pero yung structural, medyo kapos pa. Isa yan doon, yung justice system. Kaya mahalaga na yung sinabi ni Boying last year, natuloy ba? Dahil susi yun dito sa usapin ng anti-corruption. Or else, tatagal na naman ng ilang taon yung mga kaso na yan, tapos na yung termino ng presidente.
Pero Sec Ronald, can President Bongbong Marcos really use anti-corruption as part of his legacy? As we know, this is the second Marcos presidency, no? The first one, alam naman po natin yung nangyari noon.
Yes.
And now, several years later, you have a Marcos fighting against corruption.
Well, ang sabi nga dyan ni Cardinal David, no? Yan yung biro ng tadhana. Dahil bumagsak yung kanyang tatay dahil sa usapin ng corruption, tapos yung anak ay balak umangat yung kanyang legacy sa anti-corruption. No? Pero it has yet to be seen ano ba talaga yung output dito sa anti-corruption. Dahil from my vantage point, parang mabagal. No? Hindi ko alam sa vantage point nyo. No?
Kaya nga gusto ko special points.
Diba? Medyo mabagal. No? Pero, i-contrast mo yan sa kanyang tatay. Eh. Tama ka, Pauline. Dahil bumagsak, isa sa dahilan sa pagbagsak ng kanyang tatay ay yung usapin ng corruption. Especially nung nanay. Ngayon ay kinasuhan niya yung kanyang pinsan na very powerful dahil speaker eh.
Kakasuhan pala.
Oo. Hindi, nakasampa na yata sa ombudsman.
Ay, ngayon.
Yung PI.
PI, Preliminary Investigation.
Investigation.
Fiscal pa lang.
Pero it has yet to be seen kung yan ay anong magiging status pag-abot ng Sandigan Bayan na wala pang special court.
Wala pa
Si Angela daw mag-aasikaso.
Pero halimbawa, yung sa Southeast Asian Games, nagtayo ng task force si NBI. So, kailangan ng mga ganun mga task forces,
Para
diba?
mas kapani-paniwala.
Yes.
Talagang ito gusto mo mangyari.
I fully agree.
Kasi mamaya, di ba, lip service lang.
I fully agree sa
Right.
proposal mo. Ipopropose ko.
Sabi ni Angela Lagunzad-Castro.
Sabihin ko sa kanila, baka magalit yun, kabahan kayo.
Ay, wala.
We wish we had more time. Here we go again. Thank you so much, Political Pundit
Akala ko nagkukentuhan lang tayo.
Ronald Llamas. Please come back.
Always.
2 hours traffic eh.
Ikaw na the fourth host.
All right, now don't go away. We still have more matters to discuss. After this quick break, keep it here on One News.
Welcome back. You're still watching Morning Matters here on One News.
The Philippine National Police said that President Bongbong Marcos's fifth State of the Nation address was generally peaceful and orderly. And for more details, let's bring in our mobile journalist, Jazz Paredes. Jazz, what can you tell us?
Yes, Pauline, katatapos nga lamang ng ating panayam with PNP spokesperson na Colonel Allen Rico, kung saan sa kanyang panayam natin kanina ay sabi niya nga ay generally peaceful ang naging security operations ng kapulisan kahapon in connection nga sa ikalawang State of the Nation address ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos. At bukod dyan, Pauline, ay ilan sa mga nabanggit ng Pangulo sa kanyang SONA ay ang naging koordinasyon ng Philippine National Police kaugnay nga ng naging pamamaril or school shooting sa Tacloban, Leyte. At na-appreciate daw ng Philippine National Police ang pagkilala sa ahensya dahil sa kanilang koordinasyon at pagpapalawig ng pagpoprotekta sa ating mga eskwelahan matapos nga ito nga insidente nga nangyari sa Tacloban, Leyte at ang magkakasunod na mga banta ng pamamaril at pananaksak sa iba't ibang mga paaralan nationwide. Bukod dyan, Pauline, ay kaugnay naman sa naging SONA kahapon, matatandaan natin na sa isa sa mga statement ay meron tayong 51 na dinampot in connection to the protest yesterday, and it was clarified to us na only 39 yung nasa kustudiyan ng kapulisan dahil sila ay yung dahil yung 12 dito ay minors pala, Pauline, no? So 39 lamang dito yung nasa kustudiyan ng kapulisan at 9 dito ay sasailalim na sa inquest proceedings. Habang yung 12 namang mga minors ay sila ay na-release na matapos silang idaan sa DSWD. Ngayon ay nakalaya na sila dahil nga mga minor itong nahuling 12. At yung 39 na under investigation, 9 dito ay sasailalim na sa inquest proceedings. Meron ditong 2 babae which was isasampahan for obstruction of justice habang yung iba naman ay vandalism and malicious mischief yung isasampa sa kanilang kaso. Sa ngayon, Pauline, bukod dyan, yung IED naman na nakita sa Jokno Boulevard sa labas ng Senado habang doon naman sa DOJ, sa Padre Paura, itong ating improvised explosive devices under investigation pa rin daw ang pagtukoy kung sino ang nasa likod ng pagtatanim nitong IED na to at kung ano yung motibo sa pag-iiwan nga nitong mga IED. Sa ngayon, dahil nga under investigation pa, hindi pa sila makapagbigay ng konklusyon kung sino ang posibleng nasa likod nito. Ngunit nagdilin pa rin sila more on pananakot yung pinaka-motive nga nitong pag-iiwan ng IED. But once daw na matapos yung kanilang investigasyon, ay babalitaan tayong Philippine National Police sa naging resulta kung sino nga ba ang nasa likod nito nga mga IED na ito na natagpuan sa Senado at sa DOJ. Pauline.
All right, thank you very much for that report. That was mobile journalist Jazz Paredes.
Now, in other news, motorists face another big-time fuel price hike starting today, July 28. Gasoline prices are up by 6 pesos and 80 centavos per liter. Diesel increased by 7 pesos and 30 centavos, while kerosene rose by 4 pesos and 20 centavos per liter. Oil firms blame the adjustments on higher global prices and concerns over supply disruptions as the Strait of Hormuz remains largely closed to vessel traffic.
A 9-year-old aspiring inventor is getting closer to his big dreams with help from the Department of Science and Technology. Mobile journal Denise Valdesancho has the report.
At just 9 years old, Javid Magsina already has a dream that reaches far beyond his age. He doesn't just want to become a scientist. He wants to become an inventor. In fact, one of his biggest dreams is to create portal technology. And what started as an open letter written by his mother, hoping someone would help nurture his curiosity, soon turned into an opportunity that brought him closer to that dream when the UST Batangas opened its doors to the young aspiring inventor.
It was amazing. Oh my goodness. There was so much sciencey stuff, some STEM-related stuff.
Javid's love for science began long before his visit. Because of asthma, he spent less time playing outside and more time reading books about programming, engineering, and space, teaching himself concepts that even adults find challenging.
First of all, I tried normal kid things, but I have asthma, so I can't play that much. It's just boring, too plain, too meh.
Nung nakita po namin yung open letter ni DOST, talaga pong excited siya kasi daw po may makakaintindi niya dun sa ideas niya.
During his visit, Javid met with DOST personnel, toured science facilities, explored 3D printing, virtual reality, and learned how technology is applied in the real world. More than a tour, DOST saw the visit as the beginning of helping a young mind find the right environment to grow. The agency is now coordinating with the Philippine Science High School to give Javid more exposure, while continuing to guide his future inventions and, when the time comes, even help assess them for possible patents.
Ang meron talaga natin for young, brilliant kids, no, ay nasa Philippine Science High School. That's the start of their journey towards becoming their future self. We are in good faith, no, that for as long as Javid will persevere, no, I don't think na magfe-fail itong manifestation namin, no, kasi talagang malayo yung mararating ng bata.
For Javid, the dream is to one day invent technology that can help people. But his story is already doing something just as powerful, inspiring other young Filipinos to stay curious, keep learning, and never stop asking questions.
Keep reading books and also don't give up when it seems that no one can understand you. And also keep being curious about things.
Mobile journalist Denise Valdesancho, we are One News.
That is so cute. All right, stay tuned. Morning Matters returns after a quick break.
Good morning and welcome back to Morning Matters. As we know, President Bongbong Marcos pushed for tax relief and lower electricity costs during his 5th State of the Nation address. Marcos proposed raising the income tax exemption threshold to cover individuals earning up to 350,000 pesos annually. He also sought to exempt small businesses from the minimum corporate income tax and proposed a tax amnesty covering unpaid tax obligations. The president likewise pushed for the removal of system loss charges from electricity bills, saying consumers should no longer shoulder costs caused by power distribution losses. Marcos stressed that Filipinos should not be made to pay for inefficiencies they did not create.
Now, tax relief was among the major economic priorities laid out by President Bongbong Marcos in his fifth State of the Nation address. And now to help us unpack these proposals and what they could mean for Filipinos, we are now joined by Mon Abrea, Chief Tax Advisor of the Asian Consulting Group. Mon, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
With a big smile.
Yes, of course.
Before I left, we had the interview and I just arrived and we are having again an interview. With a big news. This is a welcome development. I think this is the first time ever in a SONA that there was a policy specific for middle class. I think for the longest time it's all about the poorest of the poor, which is not wrong. But I'm just saying, I think this is the first time that really targeting or trying to help empower the middle class. Sana lang medyo mas generous.
Well, the president talked about tax relief measures now 30 minutes into his SONA, but he called on Congress to legislate this. So kumbaga, wish list lang niya to, parang proposal lang ano. But should we be happy with this proposal to increase the tax exemption threshold to 350,000 pesos?
Honestly, as we speak, there are, I think, more than 5 bills filed already. All trying to increase the tax exemption, including the sister of the president. The proposal, I guess, is 500,000, yung kay Senator Aimee. And there's this version, wag na natin banggitin yung iba, pero different version, there's 350 is actually the lowest. The one mentioned by the president apparently is the lowest threshold. Of course, ours is the most ambitious at 1 million. But we have a basis naman, di ba? Phase 1, Phase 2, Phase 3, and the respective sources. And we have communicated this to Malacanang. So this is already the confession. I knew already about this. Because remember, when we had the last interview, I was called by Malacanang. We discussed this already.
In fact, kami tinik.
In fact, I think they're trying to I think they're trying to call this progressive bill.
Yeah.
But why I'm happy and why I'm saying it's a welcome development, other than the fact that it's the first time that we heard it in SONA. Second is there are several options now. Before, we're not even talking about increasing the take-home pay.
Exactly.
Now we have options. So I guess we're now working on which is the better option.
Okay, so with the expansion of tax being discussed yesterday by the president, I was wondering how will the government make up for the possible loss of revenue? Because let's face it, our government is facing high fiscal deficit and all that. So how will the government balance giving tax relief to us and at the same time, yung kanilang fiscal responsibility?
Correct. And I agree with you. That's a very important concern. We need to have, we need to keep our fiscal position, our space healthy, di ba? Of course, we have the OECD Global Minimum Tax, which is already being prioritized by the Department of Finance, and BIR is already preparing for it. What does it mean? We will now be collecting from the large multinational corporations which are profit shifting or not declaring their income in the Philippines while earning it here. And we have the tech giants for the to begin with, the Amazon, Facebook. So we will now start collecting from them. And according to the Finance Secretary, Secretary Go, they're targeting January 2027. So that's the first. But of course, for me, the most important and the most urgent is auditing and investigating all unexplained wealth nationwide, not just the flood control. But of course, I want Martin Romualdez to pay, di ba?
Paano si BBM? Paano si BBM? Yung family niya has tax liability, 203 billion.
But let's not forget, he has immunity as the president. So let's...
But the family?
Well, I think that
tax
extends...
liability is family,
yes,
estate
but
yun.
don't you think the president will protect the family? As he said, he's not the president of his family, but he's still a member of the family. I mean, that's a reality. So I won't waste time arguing about it, but I will start running after Martin and the rest of even the mayors, the governors, who have obviously accumulated unexplained wealth. Diba yun nga yung apprehension ko dun sa upper middle income class classification eh. Baka mamaya ang wealth natin na-trap na sa mga few corrupt political dynasties.
That's true.
Pero binida kahapon ni PBBM na we were able to recover about 25 billion pesos already. Tama ba?
Diba? And we lost almost 1 trillion.
So hindi pa, malayo pa.
Diba? With all remember the flood control started with the previous administration. Kaya even the DDS, they should be humble, ha? They
And we have to fact check that.
about
That's
it.
admin number pa rin,
Yes.
as
Diba?
of now.
Of course,
We have
yeah.
to fact check that.
But honestly, at the end of the day, regardless who, what time, and what amount, whatever is corrupted or taken away from our taxpayers' money, ninakaw pa rin yun. Let's not celebrate or try to take sides. We want it back, and we want them to pay.
If we go back to the President's request to Congress to pass a law easing income taxes, what does Congress need to consider when it comes to recalibrating our income tax structure?
Honestly, other than further simplifying and digitalizing it, we need a database that will really help BIR collect the right taxes. Only in the Philippines, you don't even know how much a person earns. Diba? We rely on Forbes for the billionaires here in the Philippines. We really don't have a data, and we have a very strict bank secrecy that apparently protects the corrupt and the rich who are not paying the right taxes. So we have to lift the bank secrecy. We need to streamline all the processes, automate it, and especially for the MSMEs, don't forget about the books of accounts. Give them a smartphone and make pindot what number they make for the day. That's it. I mean, we try to complicate it. You know, BIR is trying to be very strict with the small taxpayers, but they cannot run after the big taxpayers. Focus on the big ones. Don't bother the MSMEs. I think that at the end of the day, that will help our economy grow. Let the MSMEs grow. Don't bother them, and use the resources of the government to regulate the big ones who are making so much money but not paying the right taxes.
Yesterday, Mon, President Marcos also proposed some tax amnesties, right, for unpaid
Akala ko
income
for
tax.
Ito kasi nagsimula. Umaga.
So, unpaid income tax, estate tax, donors tax, how significant is that?
Well, I think it's important to allow those who failed to pay their taxes in the past. But you know, having amnesty all the time is bad, because it's in a way unfair for those of us who are paying taxes on time, but at the same time, it unlocks the what we call uncollected taxes. Kasi nga, either nag-aaway sa korte or nagkakalagayan sa BIR. So with the general tax amnesty of all taxes, there's a possibility to be collected, waiving interest, and probably with lower rates. So that's the purpose naman of amnesty. Pero I honestly think dapat magkaroon talaga ng provision na dapat every 10 years lang or every 20 years. Hindi siya pwedeng whimsical na, okay, para tumaas ang survey ko, mag-amnesty tayo. I mean, I'm not saying that's the intention of the president.
Kasi it will promote non-compliance. Diba?
Exactly. Kasi alam nila that they can anticipate for another round of amnesty. Remember, we had 2 extensions of estate tax amnesty. Diba? And yet, kanino ba talagang estate tax amnesty? This is tax of the rich. And yet, no one is paying. And sino yung naiipit yung mga mahihirap na may nagmana ng lupa pero walang pera.
Totoo.
Na hanggang ngayon sa probinsya, ang mga titulo nasa mga ninuno nila, but the value is so little.
Exactly.
But they were not able to transfer it. Sila yung dapat makinabang nun. And yet, whenever there's an amnesty, we require so much documents. How they can do that?
Nagkatamaran
Diba?
na.
Nakaipon ng pera, hindi naman nahanap yung dokumento. Wala din.
Pero I remember in one of your interviews, you said the government should empower middle class.
Yes.
Because we all know when inflation or crisis hit us, the government's focus tend to you give subsidies to the most vulnerable sector, diba? And of course, middle class are being largely left out. Itong mga sinabi niya kahapon, swak ba yun sa checklist mo on empowering middle class? Or meron pa?
Well, as I have said, it's a welcome development. It's a good start. But we want to make sure na the overtime pay will also be exempted, which I think will be part of the package. As mentioned, we've discussed this already in Malacanang. I can openly say it now that we have already discussed this. So in short, the President, the Executive Secretary, they've been listening to us, to all this conversation. And I remembered my last interview was with you before I went to Malacanang. So I was trying to stop myself, pero gusto ko nang i-share, but I think off-cam I already mentioned that we'll be discussing it. So we want the amount to increase the threshold to not just 400, but 800 to 1 million. Kasi I think that's the only way that we can really empower middle class. Empower middle class means give them back their hard-earned money. We're not asking for subsidy. We're not actually asking for relief.
Exactly.
We're asking the government to give us a break. Let us take care of ourselves. Anyway, the basic government services are not enough to take care of our health, education, transportation, and whatever other public services. Yung public good, hindi enough. And that's exactly why doing this is the best option for the government. Kasi pag binigay mo sa middle class yan, what do you think will the middle class do? Diba? They will spend it, save it, invest it. It will move around the economy.
Yung na-mention nga yesterday, allow people to enjoy their hard-earned
Hard-earned. We have to underscore hard-earned money.
Hindi kinuha sa kaban ng bayan.
Yes,
Hindi ninakaw.
we're not begging for anything that is not ours. It's our hard-earned money. And giving it to the middle class is really the best way to go. So we thank the President, we thank the Malacanang for listening to us, but we want 1 million.
Ayun. Alam mo, konti na lang boboto ko na to si Mon, kahit na hindi siya tumatakbo. But you know what? We have so many questions, but we don't have much time. But thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
for
for
joining us here.
Next time, sure na confirm na yung 1 million.
Yes. Thank you so much, Chief Tax Advisor of the Asian Consulting Group, Mona Brea. Thank you so much.
Come back when it's 1 million.
And that wraps up today's episode of Morning Matters. I'm Angela Lagunzad-Castro.
We hope we've given you just the right start to your morning. I'm Cesca Litton-Kalaw.
Let's make the day matter. I'm Pauline Verzosa, and we'll see you again tomorrow.
Kapatid, we're one news.
All sides,
all the time.